Welcome to Combat Sports Talk, a podcast dedicated to UFC, Bellator discussion, the MMA community, and combat sports in general. I'm your host, Ryan Smith, and joining me tonight is KC Knockout Onyebuchi.
Yes, I am joining in the spot of analyst. Thank you very much, Cassidy Herrig, for reminding me of my role on this show.
Cassidy? Who's Cassidy Herrig?
Oh, it was a great story. Went out with one of my friends. She's on the Olympic Committee for the U.S., and she was asking me about the show, and she knows a lot more about sports than me, and so I got schooled. It was good. We should have her on sometime.
Yeah, okay. Well, you know. Does she know the UFC? Does she know the martial arts of mixed martial arts?
She is well versed in all things related to combat sports.
Wow. So, maybe I could just replace you with her.
It wouldn't be a terrible choice for ratings. I'm not going to lie.
It'd be an upgrade, too. I mean, like.
Look, did I just advocate for my job to go away? Come on.
I think you did. So,
I'd like to restart the show.
Yes.
Hello, welcome
I'd like to send a message out there to Cassidy. Cassidy Herrig, please reach out to us over at combatsportstalk.com. We may have an analyst position open for you.
I regret everything, starting from Friday night till now.
All right. Well, the UFC traveled to Buenos Aires, Argentina, to feature a hometown hero in Santiago Ponzinibbio in a contender match against Neil Magny, a fighter who's struggling to stop his slide from the top of the welterweight ladder. You also had Ricardo Lamas, who sought to bully Darren Elkins, and Khalil Rountree Jr. got friendly with UFC newcomer Johnny Walker's elbows. But before we get too far down the road, let's cover all the action on the official decision.
The official decision.
This is the official decision. This is where we look at the fights from Saturday night and recap all the action that matter. This was UFC Fight Night, Magny versus Ponzinibbio in Buenos Aires, Argentina. How am I doing? Last week, my Buenos Aires wasn't up to par.
Necesito una más tiempo, por favor. Try again.
Buenos Aires.
Ay, qué lindo. It's perfect.
All right, great. Thank you, because I was like, I don't know if I have any more in me.
Backpack?
Biblioteca.
¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
Cynthia Calvillo. I always mess up her name. Defeated Polyana Botello via submission in round 1. There is a rule number 4 that I'm going to establish tonight.
Oh. Technically, it's 5. There's a hidden 4th rule.
No, there's a hidden 3rd rule.
Oh, math is hard.
Math is hard. So we don't talk about rule number 3, but we don't talk about rule number 3. But we will go over the rules real quick. Rule number 1: never bet against the Russians. 2: never bet against the Brazilians in Brazil.
Yeah.
Rule number 3: we don't talk about. Rule number 4: always pick the person who misses weight.
Oh, yeah. That is a very good rule.
Cynthia Calvillo, she defeated Polyana Botello, but she missed weight. She weighed in at 118 pounds. They were showing video of her getting on the scale, and, she said that she was, crouching and all that kind of stuff, not because she was dehydrated, but because she was trying to stay covered because they weren't doing her justice with the towels, trying to cover up, because she had to get naked, had to get all the extra ounces she could off of her. So she was not wearing any clothes, and they had her covered up. But I think she was dehydrated and she had lost her balance.
One never knows.
She got hydrated, though, and then she put that train on Polyana Botello. So I guess it worked out for her.
It did indeed.
So last thing, Cynthia says she wants Michelle Waterson next. They were supposed to fight in April, but Calvillo was popped for marijuana in April, and so the fight didn't happen. So she's trying to get back on that Michelle Waterson level, and I'm interested in seeing the fight.
For sure. Interesting things could happen. I'm surprised. So how long is a suspension for marijuana?
It must have been the first suspension, so I guess it was like a warning or something like that. I mean, she got popped in April, and this is November. It has to be like 6 months then.
Huh. All right, so last dumb question.
Okay.
Does that count even if you're not in training for a fight? Like, you don't get out of whatever testing.
Out of competition?
Yeah.
I think if you get popped in out of competition, I don't think you get in trouble for out of competition. It has to be in competition. So she must have been in the process of training for the fight.
Huh. Interesting. All right. The more you know. We got to have that segment.
The more you know. But see, that we can't play that music though.
But I sing angelically. Well, I'm pretty sure we'll still get hit with copyright.
Maybe. Anyway, Marlon Vera defeated Guido Canetti via submission in round 2. Ian Heishich defeated Caesar.
Factory X represent.
Heinz. Bless
you.
Defeated Cesar Ferreira via unanimous decision. That was the closest fight of the night, actually.
Yeah, for sure.
Johnny Walker defeated Khalil Rountree Jr. in mere seconds with elbow cannons to the face in round 1.
Is that even a defeat versus an utter annihilation?
It was brutality.
We got to get that drop going.
Yeah. It dang near was a fatality, but, we'll give it brutality. Here's the thing. I didn't realize, this is Johnny Walker's debut. And let me just say that we were making jokes last week about Johnny Walker. Like, oh, haha, Johnny Walker, let him keep walking. Where's his cane and this top hat? That dude is a giant. He's 6'5", athletic, like unbelievably athletic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. And
I didn't realize he was that tall.
Yeah, he was a giant next to, Khalil Rountree is not a little dude.
Yep.
And Johnny Walker looked like, a giant next to him.
The thing about that fight is Khalil was in trouble with the knees. Like, there was, it was given that Johnny was going to put a hurt on him, like right out of the gate.
Well,
there was no time to regroup or anything.
Well, yeah. At first you thought it was not going to happen because they're like sitting there looking at each other and fainting and like here and there. And then Johnny Walker's like, okay, now it is time for me to take you to school. And he did. And he taught Khalil Rountree the power of the Muay Thai clinch. Like, please, if you are a fighter, let me just start right here. If you are a fighter and you don't know anything else, watch highlights of what to do when you are in the Muay Thai clinch. Go and find Anderson Silva versus Rich Franklin and see what not to do.
What not to do. That's solid.
And then watch this Johnny Walker and see how Khalil Rountree did not learn anything about getting out of the Thai clinch because Johnny Walker had it so tight. So the Thai clinch, we went over this in the show before, but we'll go over it again. Thai clinch, you want to grab the round part of the back of the head. You kind of want to cup it in both of your hands. Kind of like if you were scooping water out of the river. So you know how you would put your hands together to kind of do that?
Who does that? I love the analogy. It works, but who does that?
I'm trying to create a visual here. Come on, let's not disrupt it. So you want to put your hands like you're kind of scooping the water out of the river, and you want to put that on the round part of the back of the head, which is known as the external occipital protuberance. That is the name of the back of the head that you want to get. It's that big lump that people have that juts out from the neck. Huh?
That's nuts. How you know this?
I'm married to a nurse. Like, I helped her study for nursing. Like, I'd learned all kinds of anatomy and physiology. All right. So now that you have your hands back there, what you want to do is you want to take your elbows, you want to clench down around the person's head, and neck area. So you get your elbows, you want to bring those together. So you have your hands behind their head, the elbows coming down, around their neck, and you want to punch those elbows together. And you have a lot of control like that, which is what happened when you have someone like Johnny Walker, who was a giant next to Khalil Rountree. He's got all kinds of leverage and reach, and he just started moving Khalil Rountree around. And then when Khalil Rountree got rocked to sleep, I guess before he got rocked to sleep, Johnny let go of one of his arms while he's still cupping with the other one and just threw an elbow right to the temple. Caught him once, it woozied him, caught him twice, and he rocked him to sleep. It was over. You want to say it, or do I have to hit the drop?
Boom. Rocked him.
Nice. All right. In the co-main event, Ricardo Lamas defeated Darren Elkins via knockout in round 2.
Yeah.
We both were on Darren Elkins. All three of us were on Darren Elkins.
Dude, Lamas, the leg kicks were landing and devastating.
The leg kicks. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my goodness. And Elkins honestly looked like he was just dog tired.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was the blood. So much blood loss. The only person who bleeds more than Darren Elkins is Clay Guida. And that guy's got so much scar tissue that freaking a rock band wrote a song about. What's the name of that rock band that wrote the song Scar Tissue?
Yeah, there's zero chance I would know this.
Yeah, Red Hot Chili Peppers. There it is. Blam!
How's that go? Can you sing it for us real quick?
Red Hot Chili Peppers Scar Tissue?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do it. I'm sorry.
Anyway, lots of blood.
I can only do Give It Away and Can't Stop.
I think we should make that a show bonus at the end of this episode.
What, me doing Give It Away?
Stay in as Ryan does karaoke to Give It Away.
Okay, so yeah, Ricardo Lamas looked great. I mentioned on Instagram that, I was picking Darren Elkins, but I knew that Ricardo Lamas was going to be a game fighter. He looked so dynamic, was throwing all kinds of different diverse strikes, throwing combos, and, Darren Elkins just started taking more and more damage till the end, and it was like, wow, that was...
The damage took damage.
The damage took damage. And the main event of the evening, Santiago Ponzinibbio defeated Neil Magny via knockout in round 4. Dude, I got to do it, man.
Man, I was holding my breath, hoping we wouldn't get here.
You were the only one to pick Neil Magny. But I have to say that your analysis was fair. Your analysis was fair.
Yeah.
You were like, if Santiago Ponzinibbio runs, if Neil Magny doesn't run or control the pace, then he's going to lose. Neil Magny was hurt in the first seconds of the fight. He got caught with a jab in the eye, not like around the eye, like the jab landed in his eye, and he couldn't see for most of the first round.
Yep. That was terrible. If you look at the fight, like right out of the gate, Neil Magny gets backed up from the very first seconds of round 1, and he never regains control of the octagon.
Yep. And that's the thing. He got caught in the eye, so he spent the first, 2.5 minutes just trying to see. And at that point, the leg kick started.
Leg kicks. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. I got to play this. I got to play this one right here.
I was alerted to the need for medical attention when you said, ow.
Because he was saying ow a lot. Like every time Santiago Ponzinibbio kicked him in the leg, he went down, fell to the ground, and by the time they got to the third round, they were like, if he kicks Neil Magny in the leg one more time, Herb Dean's going to stop it. But then we know Herb Dean, so that means he's not going to stop it.
Oh yeah, any other ref might have, not Herb.
No,
that's why I like him. He lets them fight.
Protect the fighter.
So here's the other piece of this is Neil never really was able to reestablish his distance. He had all the reach in the world over Ponzinibbio, but Ponzinibbio's ability to get back inside whenever there was distance and to close the space was he executed beautifully against a taller fighter who could have easily made this a rangy situation.
Yeah, I the thing is that once we found that Neil Magny had that lead leg weakness, anytime he tried to establish his reach, Santiago Ponzinibbio would just kick him in the leg.
Cut him off.
Yeah, just blow, kick him in the leg. And then it was like, okay, now he's backing up to the cage and he doesn't have his height anymore. He's got his feet standing square to his shoulders, and you really can't box from that position. So Neil Magny was fighting for his life the entire fight.
Yeah, it was sad to see that Neil was, even when he did have moments to establish his lead leg and plant and fire, it was a lot of jabs followed up with nothing. It was just trying to get some distance to recover. And because he wasn't landing combinations, he couldn't set up a decent offense, really.
No, and it was only a matter of time before Santiago Ponzinibbio threw a big power right, caught him on the chin, and dropped him like a freaking tree in the forest.
Boom! Rocked him.
So there you have it. Let's close the book on this one. Let's go ahead and put this on the shelf because this card is history. Now, let's look at the stories that are making waves in the UFC with Finding the Angles.
Finding the Angles.
This is Finding the Angles. This is where we look at the headlines that are worth talking about in the MMA world and the UFC. The first one is Dana White wants Daniel Cormier to put off retirement plans for a trilogy with Jon Jones. So,
of course he does.
Yeah, you know that's the bigger fight with whatever's going on in WWE. They had Survivor Series, I think, last night. And, you got Brock Lesnar, who's the champ. I don't know if he retained his championship in the WWE. Not that it matters to us, but
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But the question is whether or not Brock Lesnar is going to be ready for Daniel Cormier early 2019, because what we're counting down to Cormier's 40th birthday, where he says he's going to retire.
Yep. My issue with all of this is Daniel Cormier has done an amazing PR job of really scrubbing the stain of Jon Jones off of his record and making it look that he is emotionally moved past it. There's no question to whether or not he is the top 205 fighter, and now as a multi-division champion, like, Jon Jones is actually a step backwards for Daniel Cormier because of how good of a job he's done with his PR. And I don't think it makes sense for him to bring back this grudge. Like, it makes sense for the fans, but if you actually care about the fighter, this is not the fight for Daniel Cormier to end his career on.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. I don't want to, I don't want to, it's, everybody wants to see that fight with Jon Jones, though. I mean, it's Jon Jones coming back. They want to see if Daniel Cormier can go out in the sunset. Because for me, I just feel like the Brock Lesnar fight, even though it's going to make money because everyone wants to see Brock Lesnar fight, it's just not interesting to me. And I was talking to someone the other day, and it's like, let's do the matrix of if Daniel Cormier beats Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
He's going to vacate the heavyweight title because he's going to retire, and nothing really comes of it. If Brock Lesnar defeats Daniel Cormier, then Brock Lesnar becomes the UFC heavyweight champion without having had to go through the gauntlet of, Ngannou, Blades, he did fight Mark Hunt.
With an asterisk.
Fabricio, with an asterisk. Fabricio Verdum, Stipe Miocic. Like, all of these fighters, he got to skip the line.
Yep.
Do you really think that Brock Lesnar is going to have a long career as a heavyweight champion of the UFC? No. He's going to be
like USADA has anything to do with it.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, Brock Lesnar's not even going to – he's going to fight one time, make the money, and be like, I'm done. I'm going back to WWE.
All right, let's go the other side of it, though. Let's say you do set up the Jon Jones fight, Jon Jones and Cormier, round 3. if John Jones loses, then all of the talk will be that John Jones was coming off of this really long suspension. The ring rust was there. He was fighting too emotionally. That's why he lost. John Jones in his prime, no way he loses to Cormier. So Cormier's legacy is still tainted with a win.
Yeah, I don't see that just because John Jones is getting his fight with Alexander Gustafsson at the end of the year. So whatever fight comes back, it's not going to be ring rust at that point. I think.
Do you really think that if there is a chance for this fight to happen, that John Jones doesn't find a way to back out of the Alexander Gustafsson fight, like phantom injury that heals after Cormier gets booked?
No, because that fight's going to happen. That fight, I think John Jones needs that fight to happen. He's got to redeem himself. So I think that coming back, he's fighting for a title. Why would you back out of that in order to chase Daniel Cormier? Because they want to fight. They want that fight to be at heavyweight anyway, which is not what John Jones wants. So if John Jones fights, he gets the title. He gets to call himself champion again.
I see why you would stick with it. Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, if we play that matrix out, John Jones fights Daniel Cormier. John Jones loses. Well, John Jones still has the series. And, he can say, well, I fought at heavyweight. I'm a light heavyweight fighter. John Jones wins, then, Daniel Cormier still retires, and the UFC is not worse for wear because you've got arguably the greatest martial artist in the UFC as your light heavyweight and heavyweight champion. And it kind of closes the book on the whole John Jones is better, so
that whole champ thing that both of them became double champ.
Yes. But what the difference is that John Jones is like, I took your belt twice.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean that is worst case scenario for Daniel Cormier. If I was Daniel Cormier, I'd be like, heck no, I'm not fighting John Jones ever again.
Yeah, avoid that at all costs.
Yeah. However, it appears that Daniel Cormier's newest sponsor, Carl's Jr., is running a marketing campaign right now to pick the next opponent. If people aren't saying John Jones, I don't even know what this is supposed to be. I think it's kind of a dumb thing because, like, hey, put hashtag Cormier's next opponent or whatever the hashtag is, and we'll smile at the winner. I mean, it's not gonna they're gonna actually book it.
Yeah, I don't think the UFC cares at all what Carl's Jr. throws in there.
Right. So it's like, whatever it says, unless they're like Daniel Cormier versus Godzilla, like that now. Daniel Cormier versus an alligator. Then, okay, well, maybe after he retires.
We'll see.
You ready to get
no idea how that's going to play out, though. I really don't see Daniel Cormier wanting to wait for this fight, but weirder things have happened.
Yeah, I think Daniel Cormier. I want to talk about what's going to happen to Daniel Cormier because I have a prediction, but I want to get all the way to the end of the show before I make my prediction.
Okay.
So I have a prediction about what Daniel Cormier is going to do. Next story is the UFC has celebrated their 25th anniversary. And so one of the ways that they're celebrating their 25th anniversary is they're doing 25 short documentaries. And one of them bubbled to the top, really got my attention, which was the Combatant in Chief, the story of Donald Trump's history in combat sports. So they did a documentary talking about Donald Trump and combat sports, because we know that Donald Trump has been active in boxing for a long time. We know that he's done sports entertainment with WWF and WWE, and Dana White and Donald Trump are really, really good friends. So for them to do a documentary on our current president of the United States and his contribution to the world of combat sports, I was actually surprised at the at the tribute.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, it's tough for me personally to be a fan of this, but the reality is he has been a patron of the fight game for a long time. There's quite a bit of question as to the motive behind and how he's made his money in the fight game, but it's still something that's worth exploring. And I mean, It's the president. How do you not talk about the president?
Yeah, here's my thing for you. What are your thoughts on Dana White's, allegiance, to Donald Trump? I mean, he spoke on behalf of Donald Trump at the Republican National Convention. He and Colby Covington went and visited the White House after Colby Covington was awarded the interim welterweight championship. Now we've got this documentary. I mean, Dana White is really showing tremendous love for Donald Trump.
I fully support it, only because, I may not be a fan of either one of the men involved in the story. However, it is truly a friendship that they've carried on before he was president. And this isn't just Dana White sucking up to an official trying to get something there. They have an established relationship. So why not continue that? His politics are controversial. Dana White's controversial. I mean, the two are a match made in heaven.
So here's the thing that I didn't know. And, personally, I thought that this was at first blush, I thought this was just a tribute to Donald Trump kind of thing. Okay, you're the president, you're my friend. I'm going to make a documentary about you because of your role in combat sports. But then, I went on to theshadowleague.com. And they went into detail as to why this is a relevant documentary. And I was surprised because when Zuffa LLC bought the UFC was losing money. And so they needed a place to hold a pay-per-view. And so it was Donald Trump at Taj Mahal in Atlantic City who stood up and hosted the UFC 30 in February of 2001 so that they could hold their event. And then in the following year, a few months later, actually, February to May, so 3 months later, Donald Trump hosted another UFC event, UFC 31, as well, until they got on their feet. So they didn't have enough money to be able to host events where they wanted to. And it was Donald Trump and his casino in Atlantic City that hosted these two events that helped them get a little bit of momentum, that helped them become the UFC that it is today. So it's actually a legit story. It's not like sucking up. Donald Trump is part of their history.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I thought it was really interesting that Dana White says, I'm never going to say anything bad about Donald Trump. Ever, 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 ever. That guy gave us our start when nobody would talk to us. He told that to Harvey Levin of Objectified.
Yep.
That's loyalty, man.
It's not great, but I'm 100% here for it. That's someone who saw a good investment and ran after it. I mean, Donald Trump hasn't made amazing investments over time, but this was a great one. So I'm actually really impressed by that. So, I have a friend who says, you have to acknowledge goodness when it happens. And so I'm acknowledging this goodness. This is goodness. Acknowledged. 3-round exhibition fight between Floyd Mayweather and Tenshin Nasukawa is back on. So we talked about this in a previous episode, maybe 2 episodes ago, that Floyd Money Mayweather was coming out of retirement to fight Tenshin Nasukawa. Yeah, Nasukawa. Sorry, my fault. I got the S's and W's mixed up. Nasukawa. Not going to work here anymore.
Tenshin Nasukawa, who is an undefeated 28-0 kickboxer, and he is supposed to fight in an exhibition. So everybody got super excited. Floyd Mayweather's coming out to fight this up-and-coming kickboxer. And then Floyd was like, no, I didn't say I was fighting anybody. They said it. Well, Floyd has since come back and said, listen, we're going to do it. It's going to be a 3-round exhibition. No kicks involved. So they're going to do it on New Year's Eve at Saitama Super Arena in Japan.
I think it probably came down to being able to have the right terms for him.
It was dollars. Had to be.
I think it had to be the kicks more than anything.
No kicks and the dollars. So here's the thing. This past weekend, Tenshin Nasukawa defeated, I forgot the name of the other guy, in round 1 at Rise 129. It was basically a kickboxing exhibition. The dude dropped a train. Nasukawa dropped a train on the other dude. It lasted maybe 2 minutes tops. Guy got knocked down 3 times. He was wobbly on his legs. And now there people are like, ooh, wonder what he's going to do with Floyd Mayweather. Here's my thought. He's not going to do anything to Floyd Mayweather. He's a kickboxer.
Yep.
Floyd Mayweather is going to be in there. He's not going to take any damage. He's going to counterpunch the hell out of this kid.
That's how that goes down. I mean, kickboxers aren't completely inept using their hands.
No, they just haven't. They've split time between using their hands and their feet. And so someone who's dedicated their life to just using their hands and the footwork and the head movement and all that kind of stuff, this kid is a freaking raging bull. And he's great, but
I think the real disadvantage comes in as a kickboxer. You think in terms of using your hands to set up a head kick. And so there's going to be a time where Floyd's head dips or something and he's just like itching, like just muscle memory comes in and it's like, oh, this is where I head kick. And then he's got to slow himself down. And it's in those moments where he sees a leg opportunity that he can't use that slows him down that Floyd has more opportunity. I think that's really where it comes down when you're breaking a boxer versus a kickboxer down. It's because you're slowing down and limiting the capability of the boxer, not the kickboxer. Not that he can't use his hands, but you're asking him to take away part of what's become second nature to him.
Here's my thing. This is a 3-round fight. It's 3-minute rounds. A fight doesn't even really get started until like round 5. So, I don't know what they're going to expect. Floyd Mayweather is just going to move around the ring, stay out of the guy's reach, and throw jabs or encounters whenever the opportunity arises. This isn't going to be a very interesting fight. I think that what's going to happen is the guy should just be, Tenshin Nasukawa should just be excited to be sharing the ring with arguably one of the greatest boxers in the history of the sport and not be trying to knock out the dude, because if you do, you're either going to be extremely frustrated or you're going to get countered and, you may end up being embarrassed.
Becomes devastating here because part of this strategy might be to just push the pace, because Floyd's used to going deep into a fight. He's never had the pace pushed like a kickboxing pace.
I don't know what a kickboxing pace is, but the fact is
faster than the typical boxing. First couple of rounds, you're feeling each other out. You're planning to go deep into a fight versus, all right, we got 3 minutes. Let's go.
Yeah, I think Floyd doesn't even engage for the first 2 rounds.
How big is the space they're fighting in?
It's a normal boxing ring.
Oh, okay. So he's got plenty of room to run.
He's got plenty of room to run. And he's going to move and feint and do all those things that he does, throw a couple of jabs out there, keep the guy at bay. This is academic for him. This is not. There's no way Floyd would put himself in a situation where he's going to be in any kind of danger. I want to argue and say that he is bigger than this kid. Come on. And this is coming from me, who was like, Conor McGregor will defeat Floyd Mayweather. Like, that's the guy that I am sitting here in this seat.
All right.
And now I have been sold. I'm sold on Floyd Mayweather. Sold.
That's fair.
Nothing's going to happen. Like, everybody's getting excited about it. Sit down. This is academic.
All right. We'll see. I think that Floyd wins this handily, but I do think that he is put in trouble in the second round.
Okay. Well, we'll see. End of the year. Speaking of old guys fighting.
Oh.
Guess what's happening this weekend?
We are going to have Ken Shamrock versus
Hoist Gracie.
Yes.
No, we're going to have Chuck Liddell versus Tito Ortiz 3. This is the debut of Golden Boy Promotions MMA. They're this weekend. Guess what? They are on sale half price. If you want to watch it on fight.tv, you can get this fight on pay-per-view at half price, $19.99.
Yeah, there's a reason it's so cheap. Is there really a reason to engage in this?
I don't even know why. Well, I don't know. I don't know why. Like,
I mean,
I want to watch it just for the train wreck that it's going to be. Like, we got to do Flash Fight Pick on this.
Oh man, that's tough.
We got to do Flash Fight Pick.
So here's the thing. Ortiz's camp has been saying that they don't feel like Liddell has been honest about the type of training that he's doing. Like, he's trying to play everything really close to the vest and pretending he's this old feeble man, but they think it'll be a lot like their last matchup. So Ortiz is training for that. But I think it doesn't matter how much you train. You're both old. Like, give it up. Yeah.
And the thing is that Chuck Liddell has taken some mighty, mighty blows to the head.
Yeah.
I mean, Dana White asked him to stop fighting because he was concerned for his friend. And I think I think he's ripe for Tito Ortiz to finally, I think Tito Ortiz is younger by a couple of years. I think this is Tito Ortiz's time. So for me, I'm going with the Huntington Beach bad boy. I got Tito Ortiz in the victory here.
Now, I like to be a contrarian here, but in this case, I have to agree. Like, I think Ortiz takes this one just on a slightly less old advantage.
All right, last story. Dana White says Conor and Cowboy fight not happening. Whenever Donald Cerrone defeated Mike Perry last week. Yeah?
Yep, signed the contract.
Okay. Whenever Donald Cerrone defeated Mike Perry last week, he said that he wanted to move back down to 155. Well, guess who's trolling at 155? It's Conor McGregor. And so they've had a war of words going back and forth since Conor McGregor defeated Jose Aldo. And when Conor was moving up to 155 to take on Eddie Alvarez, Cowboy's like, hey, I'll be your Huckleberry. I'll fight you. And so now that Conor's looking for an opponent after his submission defeat by to Khabib Nurmagomedov, I think Cowboy is a great name for him to fight. I would rather see Cowboy fight him than Nate Diaz.
Would you?
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie. That is a much more intriguing fight because the Diaz fight is just going to be a weird slap fest. And I also don't want to hear that the press conference leading up to it. Like, give me Cowboy. Yeah. Even though I don't like Cowboy, give me Cowboy any day.
Hey, but you said you were going to give Cowboy another chance.
Did I?
Last week. It's recorded.
I rescind that thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hold grudges, man.
Apparently. So Dana White says that this is not happening, though. He says it's absolutely not true. Obviously, that's a fight that Cowboy Cerrone wants, but it's not true that they're going to fight. He said that both Conor and Khabib Nurmagomedov need to both go before the Nevada State Athletic Commission in December, and then they get their punishments handed out. So he said that we're not even thinking about a fight. It's not even what we're talking about. We don't even know how long the suspensions are going to be, what their fine is going to be. We don't know the penalties yet. You don't even think about fights until you know what the penalties are. So a fight, Conor McGregor's next fight isn't even going to be thought about until after December. So, maybe Cowboy can just sit tight, go relax for the holidays, and then come back in 2019 and try to get in that Conor McGregor bout.
Yeah, I think this is purely a financial play. Though he would love that fight to happen, it just comes down to it's highly unlikely to happen in a time frame where he can make money off of it in a short amount of time. So having Donald fight someone else in the interim makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, but you don't want to lose a fight and miss out on the Conor. I'd sit tight, see what happens, and then make a decision after that.
Okay.
All right, that is Finding the Angles. We're going to go into the fight card.
Hey.
Dude, why you pumping the brakes on the fight card?
Because you said at the end of the show we would have some Daniel Cormier talk, and I didn't know you at the end of the show.
End of the show, not end of the segment.
All right, I'll blame it at my concussion from last week.
All right. So this is the fight card. This is where we look at the fights that are happening this weekend. Now, I realize that, last week I looked past LFA. I looked past, some of the professional fighters league. I looked past Bellator. There's a lot of fights I looked past. I apologize for that. It's hard to keep up with all the fights that are going on, but I am super excited about this one. So we're going to talk about it. UFC Fight Night in Beijing, happening on November 24th, 2018 at Cadillac Arena in Beijing, China.
All right.
Headlining the card is Curtis Blades versus Francis Ngannou. Let's go through the card here. We got Li Jingliang. He's the Leech versus David Saget Zawada. We've got Song Yadong versus Vince Morales. We've got Alistair Overeem. The Reem is back versus Sergey Pavlovich. And in the main event of the evening, Curtis Razor Blades versus the Predator, Francis Ngannou. All right, we're going to do flash fight picks for Alistair Overeem versus Sergey Pavlovich.
Oh, man. My fight picks have been a little off lately, but I'm going Pavlovich here just because Alistair, his training is good, but he's looking a little big these days.
Absolutely. So, as for me, what's rule number one?
Never bet against the Russians.
Never bet against the Russians. I'm going with Sergey Pavlovich. And in the main event of the evening, Curtis Razor Blades versus Francis Ngannou. Who you got?
Man, I want to have Francis so bad. But I really feel like Blades is probably the more complete fighter here.
You have been looking at my run sheet because I'm going with Curtis Razor Blades. I am driving the Curtis Razor Blades hype train. I am the conductor. Show me your ticket.
All right. In that case, I'm changing it because Francis Ngannou has put in a heck of a fight camp. He went back to Paris. He's starting from scratch. He might have something different to bring, and who knows? His cardio has to be better.
Do you want me to play the crow now, or do you want me to wait until next week?
Look, in my defense, I started out on your Blades train, but
why'd you get off? You shouldn't have got off. Like,
I can't be there with you. I just can't.
The train is moving, man.
You're so excited about it that I decided to tuck and roll.
Oh man. Okay. I'm glad you chose your. I was going to say your countryman, but he's not your countryman. Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades is the more complete fighter. One thing that I don't think you can teach is grappling and wrestling. It's a lifestyle. You either grow up with it or you try to neutralize it. And I don't think that Francis Ngannou, I know he didn't grow up with wrestling, and I don't think he's shown that he can neutralize it. So you've got gas tank issues with Francis Ngannou. You've got skill sets from a grappling perspective that he's got to deal with. Curtis Blades is going to take this fight to the ground early, and we saw what he could do with those elbows when he fought Alistair Overeem and split him open like a nectarine. I was looking for a fruit, man. Split him open like a melon. Something. Help me out here.
Like a key lime.
So, I got Curtis Blades. I got Curtis Blades. And here's my prediction. I got Curtis Blades in such a dominant fashion against Francis Ngannou that the conversation is going to elevate from Daniel Cormier versus Brock Lesnar, who I don't think is going to be able to make it to the octagon. And it's going to be, in his last fight, Daniel Cormier versus Curtis Blades for the heavyweight championship. That is my prediction.
Intriguing.
I told you, I believe that Curtis Blades is the future heavyweight champion of the UFC. I think he's going to make an impression on the fight game this weekend against Francis Ngannou, who is currently ranked at number 4. And I think when you get him ranked at number 4, that gives him an opportunity to get a title shot when Brock Lesnar isn't going to be able to be ready in time, and you've got a choice between Stipe Miocic, who got knocked out in the first round by Daniel Cormier, and someone who will have brutalized Francis Ngannou. I think they pick the Razor Blades.
Oh, man, that is masterfully done, sir. I absolutely see that being a path forward. Unfortunately, though, I wonder what this does for Francis at number 4. He easily has to slide back to like number 6 with this loss.
You know, I don't know, because you don't have any other heavyweights fighting. Overeem is a little bit farther back at 6. So yeah. If Overeem were to beat the Russian, which I'm not predicting, maybe he moves up. I'm looking for the UFC heavyweight rankings right now just to see where people are, because of course
haven't been as active either. So.
Yeah, but Stipe Miocic has to be ranked number 1. Man, the UFC changed their website. I'm trying to decide if I like it or not.
I can tell you, I do not enjoy it.
So, okay, so you got Stipe Miocic at number 1, Derek Lewis at number 2, Curtis Blades at 3, Francis Ngannou at 4. So, if Francis Ngannou loses, then he'll stay at number 4. Maybe Alexander Volkov moves up to 4. But he lost to Derek Lewis. So all of them will, you might get Alistair Overeem, who bumps up if he were to win. Otherwise, you've got Junior Dos Santos at 7, who hasn't fought yet. Alexei Olenek, Marcin Tybura. Yeah, it's actually
not a terrible fight for Francis. I thought he should probably fight down a little bit, but in reality, he's not going to lose anything with a loss here.
He's not. I mean, it's Curtis who's kind of on the hot seat, but with Derek Lewis indisposed, I think Curtis Blades, if he's able to do what I say he's going to do against Francis Ngannou, I like him either fighting Stipe Miocic or Daniel Cormier. So
yeah. Oh, well, here's the thing. We can't leave Miocic out of the conversation for too much longer.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably one of the most, outside of Tyron Woodley, perhaps, Stipe Miocic is one of the most disrespected heavyweight champions. I think if we do a list of disrespected champions, it's Tyron Woodley and then Stipe Miocic.
And then Mighty Mouse. How do you let go a champion a guy who was a champion for that long? Like, well, we don't need you, bud.
Yeah, but at least they called him the greatest. They called him the pound for pound greatest, and they gave him all the accolades. Like, Dana White was frowning up when he gave he almost threw Tyron Woodley the belt. Like, here, take the belt. And then everybody was picking Francis Ngannou over Stipe Miocic. It
was trash.
Stipe was like, listen, I'm the champion. I've knocked out Junior Dos Santos. I've knocked out all these people. And they're like, Francis Ngannou's going to beat you, so just go ahead and give him the belt. It's like, I'm the champ. Like, does no one care?
It's like, look at my resume, fam.
Yeah. And then after he beat Ngannou, people were like, where's Daniel Cormier? Move him up from light heavyweight.
Yeah. So I hope that he doesn't get left out of the conversation for too much longer. But honestly, a Curtis Blades versus Cormier fight would be... Actually, I don't know how much money that makes, but I think there's enough fight fans who want to see it.
So here's something. Since I'm on the, we're gonna wrap up. But here's what I want to say about. I'm on the UFC, UFC.com/rankings.
Yep.
Let me tell you what stands out to me. Number 1, I'm looking down. I'm going down the list. I get down to women's featherweight champion, Chris Cyborg. Looking at the list underneath her, not a dang thing. It's empty. Like, there's nobody at featherweight. Nobody wants to come up and fight Chris Cyborg.
You want some of this?
No. Like, that, it's crazy. Like, everybody else has 15 names under each one of the other champions. You get to Chris Cyborg, 0 names. Like, that's weird. It's like she is so dominant that, like, the UFC is like, they don't even matter. Like, Megan Anderson, she doesn't even matter. She is so far below Chris Cyborg that she doesn't even make the website.
Yeah, that's sad.
That's hilarious. I'm going to screenshot this, and I'm posting this to Instagram, and I'm going to laugh. Oh, my gosh, this is hilarious. Okay, anything else before we go?
No, sir.
All right. Follow us on social media. On Twitter, I'm at CST Ryan.
And I am at CST_KC. And
whenever John joins the show, he is at Keys to Victory, and that's with an ES. You can check out the website at www.combatsportstalk.com, and you can find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Facebook, Spotify, and Instagram.
On Instagram, I am at Push Pull Pray.
And I'm at Combat Sports Talk. And John is at Keys to Victory with an ES. We now have merchandise on Amazon. Just go to our website and click the merchandise link. You'll see the Combat Sports Talk logo tee. I've been saying that I'm going to add some more designs there, but I've been slacking, man. Don't hate me.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Oh, I did put on Instagram the Dagestani gangster design. I got some likes on that, so maybe we'll do that. I got another one that's been in the works. I'll put it on Instagram just so that we can get it out there and so people can see it. But I'd like to start making them more regularly, just some designs and put them out there. We added a new section for live events. Holidays are always tough for us to do live events just because we've got Christmas parties and travel and those types of things. So I'm trying to get I'm sorry. This whole show I've been trying not to cough. I'm trying to get George and I together for at least one more live event reaction show for the Holloway T-City Brian Ortega fight. But I am at a Christmas party and he's at a Christmas party, so we're trying to figure out how we're going to make that happen. So we're going to try to do that for you guys just so that you can hear George's expert analysis. You got anything else?
No, sir.
All right, let's get out of here. Our theme music is composed by Scott McCurry at scottdeancountry.com. KC Onyebuchi produced our lead-ins. I want to thank you for joining us for another edition of Combat Sports Talk. For KC Onyebuchi, I'm Ryan Smith, reminding you to keep your hands up, your chin tucked, and throw bombs.